We always need to look at tone, and students really battle with tone. Remember, tone is the feeling that you would hear in a person's voice. So here's the text. What about tone? What is her tone? How would you tell the actor to speak? I would say to the actor playing Isabel, be hostile, and to Tommy, I would say, sound as if you're full of regret. Remember, hostile is as if you're dealing with an enemy, quite aggressive, confrontational. And then you've got this. So what does this tell you? If he's telling her to calm down, she must have been agitated. She must have been upset. Otherwise, if she just said, we have a problem, do we? Then he can't say to her, please calm down. Do you see what I mean? You need to look at the whole text and then working backwards as well as forwards, work out how characters would speak. How do we know she's lost patience, even if Ethelfugard hasn't told us there? She says, oh, for God's sake. And say, oh, for God's sake. And I do that gesture because that's what goes with it, that kind of frustrated. Stop trying to spare my feelings and just say it. If you're trying to tell me that I've been wasting my breath for a lot longer, this tells you how irritated she is for a lot longer. Go ahead, say it. I'm not a child. I can take it. You can hear her tone here. And look how long she speaks for. There's her speech, which ends there, and he says, yes. And she says, the great literary quiz team is no more. You're pulling out of the competition. And he says, yes. So I'm looking at this. And then this. We call them monosyllables because they have only one sound, monosyllable. So what does it tell you? He's very uncomfortable with this whole confrontation. He knows it's difficult for her to understand. He knows that he can't really explain it. And so he answers very briefly. So you need to look at that. Then you also need to look at stage directions, because what we've got is this. And so what is going on in the stage direction? So what do we have? She seems very hurt about the breakdown in their relationship, but she seems to accept it. Then she says, okay, I understand the quiz is over. That relationship is going to end. But what about our friendship? And she tackles that. She says, can't we meet as friends? And then we have this stage direction. What happens here is silence. She waits. What's she waiting for? Tommy to say, yes, we can go on being friends. What does she realize? No, we can't. She pulls herself together. So it takes her a while to realize that actually a friendship between a white and a black grade 12 at this point in South Africa's history is just not viable. It's not going to happen. It's not a possibility. And she hasn't realized it up until that point. That whole realization is happening in the stage directions. So she says very bitterly, I think, so our friendship is an old-fashioned idea after all. Now, where am I getting this bitter tone from? Because she's saying you have attacked Mr. M for being old-fashioned, and she's putting herself in the same category as Mr. M, and that means that she's putting herself against Tommy and the activists. And there has always been a closeness between Isabel and Mr. M. She got to like him so quickly. She becomes so very fond of him. But I think when she uses old-fashioned here, although she's standing with Mr. M, she's also throwing that against Tommy, saying, is friendship now an old-fashioned idea also?